So for this assignment, we need a few things. One, we need the textbook. The instructions were provided on the instructions start at page 71. And for this week, you can find those instructions from the content, right? Then you go to course materials, week number 2. And then here we do have what we explained in class. We have to, we've tried to follow a few instructions from chapter 2, 3, and 4. And for the assignment, you had to complete the steps provided in page 71 to 78 of the textbook. Okay, so also I do have the textbook here. This is the textbook, page 71, and for this specific portion of the assignment, for the entire assignment for that matter, we have to open this file, which is in this case provided in chapter 4 of the folder. Where do you find that? It's under in page 71. The first line is a simple build task list practice file, and it can be found in CH4 of the student files folder. Where do you get that that folder? It was provided to you under, if I'm not mistaken, course homepage. You download this file and then you have to unzip it. And once you unzip it, it should be on your device. As we explained in class as well, you have to download those or save it in your OneDrive. The reason being is because of you are going to work on this assignment using that VM. It doesn't make that much sense for you guys to download it in on your personal computer. I have done that, and in my case, I do have that under project files, and all the chapters. These are all the files, all the folders that you will get once you unzip the file that was provided to you on Blackboard. For this specific week, we have to open the file in chapter 4. And how do I know that? Because of in the textbook here, you can see that says the simple build task file practice file for this task is located in this is the book chapter CH4 folder. And then let's open that file, and this seems to be the file. Let me just copy. I'll save it under downloads, paste. Okay, I'll save it here, and I will open this file. That's step number 1, right? So in this case, this file seems to be empty, and that's the case for this week. But the reason is that we're going to start this file from scratch. I believe next files for next week will have some content, because they will assume that we know how to do the simple tasks such as creating tasks and so on. For this, again, the simple build task file task list for this week is empty for that reason. Okay. Now, what we are going to do next is proceed to follow the steps provided to us in page 71. Okay. So first it goes enter the following tasks names. Okay. What I did is just like copy. I'm going to copy this this whole text and then paste it here, and then I have these tasks here, right? Since let's see if there's instructions in terms of what to do. It's just saying assign went to the following task names. Okay, so this is empty. My assumption would be to have to start in task name number 1, and I'll just copy this, select this once, copy, and then paste it here. Control C, Control V, right? So nothing crazy. Now I just have my 5 tasks here. Right? That's step number 1. Let's go back to the textbook. Just complete and enter the following task names, right? Insert new task name named public launch phase. Okay, so that it appears above the distribute advanced copies task, right? But where is that one? Make this a little bit wider. Here, is it here? Let me see the textbook. Let me see if I can do this, split the screen here to see we can see both. Okay, now I can see both, right? So now, say insert new task name public launch phase so that it appears above the distribute advanced copies task here, right? And it's asking me to insert one here, right? So now I'll do insert, I'll do right click and then insert to task, okay? And this task needs to be named a public. How do I'll rename this default task, right? Instead of new task so on, I'll do public launch phase, okay? And I'll say okay. And now, based on what I see in the snapshot provided in step number 2, that's exactly what I have, right? Task number 3 is in the public launch phase, okay? So now we have this is step number 2, and then your initial task list should look like this one, and that's exactly what I have here, right? My recommendation is that always save it, right? The reason being is that if this crashes, you lose your work, okay? So now let me save this and save it in your OneDrive. Save as, let's do OneDrive. Okay, so this PC, let's say browse. Okay, in my case it's here. Let's do, I'll save it under, what is projects on my, project, direct chapters, and then I'll save it here, okay? Public build, save it. Again, the reason is if your computer crashes, you'll still have at the very least what you managed to save up until the time it crashed, okay? Now, let's talk about the next step here. The next step, okay, now, what we are going to do is step number 1 out of switch task scheduling from manual to automatic, okay? So they ask on step number 1 is switch task 1 to 3 to be automatically scheduled by using auto schedule command on the task tab, okay? First, I will select all the tasks that I have to switch to auto schedule, which in this case are 1. You have to hold down the key control and then select 1, 3, and 4. How do I do that? Again, select row number 1, hold down the control key for 3, 4, and then select at the same time 3 and 4. If you don't hold down the control key, this selection will not work, okay? Then I'll select 1, 3, and 4, and it says here that in the task mode, we can select here in the task mode this 3 tasks to set them out to auto schedule, and notice what will happen in the start and finish dates here, okay? I'll do that, auto schedule. A few things are going to happen. First, this icon here under the task mode column for this task will change. 1, 2, 3. Okay, did you notice that a few things happen, right? One, this the task mode icon that you have on for this task 1, 3, and 4 changed to this little box as opposed to be to this little question mark and the icon that is besides it. Okay, so that's exactly what it means. What we're trying to do is to, instead of us manually keying in the dates, start date, and the finish date, this auto schedule will do that for automatically for us. Now, if that is the right date, those are the right dates or not, that's a different story. But at the very least, it's providing us some type of baseline. Okay. Now, what we have here is that we just completed step number 1, right? One additional thing that you see once we do this is that on the right section of your file, we have now these little 3 blue rectangles here, right? And that's what it's showing here is the Gantt chart. On this side of the screen, you see the Gantt chart, meaning where these tasks fall into our timeline. A Gantt chart is essentially that, like, so what is it gives you a timeline. This is the timeline that we have, and where each of the tasks fall within that timeline to complete your project. Okay, so now by default we have what we have, but let's just see what other step we do have here. Okay, now step number 2 is use the task mode field of task 5 to change it to be automatically scheduled. Okay, where's the task mode? That task mode is this column here. Okay, but it's asking us to change task 5 to be also automatically scheduled, and then that's task 5, just this one. Once you click on this specific cell, you see this drop down list, and then you click in here, and then the default, there are only two options here. Either you do it manual schedule, which is the default, and you can auto schedule it. In this case, it's asking us to select auto schedule, and I'll do that. Same effect, right? You see, I was able to select 3. I went to the mode and I changed it, and now this is a different way to do exactly the same, right? Just change the mode from auto schedule to from manual schedule to auto schedule. Okay. Now and again, what happened here is that by default it's just adding those dates, whatever those dates are, right? Now switch the plan to now it's step number 3 is switch the plan to make all new tasks automatically scheduled. Okay, so what that means is that the reason why it's asking us to do that is that right now the default is a manual schedule, meaning if you create a new task, let's say I'll do that right now, that task will be manually scheduled, right? So you have this question mark here on the task mode. Okay, I'll just delete this and delete task, and I'll change the mode. Just give me a second here. Okay, now what I want to do now is that for every new task that I do create, I want to be on the default for the task mode to be auto scheduled. To do that, you go to task, and then instead of being now the manual schedule, the default, I'll change it to auto schedule. And let's just do that. Just click here, and the default is now auto schedule. Notice what will happen if I add a new task. Let's say task to delete. Okay. Okay, it's still doing by the default manual schedule, because I didn't do it in the right location. Okay, let me delete this and delete the task, add a new one, yeah, whatever name, but in this case I want to change the default always to be manual schedule. How do you do that? You go again to task, the group tasks, and then under mode, the default is manual schedule. I'll change it to auto schedule now, and let's see what happens when I create a new task. Note that before the menu, when I create a task, the default was this quotation mark. Let's see what happens when I do enter. Now we switch the default, right, in the mode. Now by default the newly created task will be automatically scheduled. And how you do that? Again, you go to tasks, and the group tasks, you select mode, and either in this case we're switching to auto schedule, but you can always go back to do it manual schedule. Okay, now I'm going to delete this task because of I don't need them. I'll select them all, delete, right? And let's go now back to the text. We just did step number 3. Now step 4 goes enter new task named launch social media programs below task 6, meaning here, right? What is the name? Let me just do this thing here. launch. Uh-huh. Let's delete this. Okay, and then here it has to be named launch social media programs for book. Okay, perfect. Now I'll change it to manually because of I was showing to you guys how to do it, but now pay attention to this, right? So it's telling us that once you complete the step number 4, you should have this and then it should show as you can see on this snapshot, right? That's exactly what you have here, right? So assign, first one is auto schedule, the second one is manual schedule, and so on. Don't worry, in case you don't see these dates here, you have to go to project and change the start date of the project, right? So you go to project, you go to project information, and here you select the start date to January 9th, 2023. Okay, so if you again you have to do this if you don't see the same dates, but really for this assignment the purpose is not to assess the dates, but the fact that you should be able to add a task and understand the concept of being manually or auto scheduled. Okay, so let's do OK because of my dates are fine, and let me just click this. So we do have everything here. Let's just go now to step number 5. Okay, task duration and estimates. Okay, now we have a few of these tasks that have to be we have to add the duration, and the duration is here. The one, two, three, the fourth column in on the left side on your project chart. Okay, so in this case, it's saying enter a duration of 1 day of work for task 1. Okay, do we have that? Yes, we do have that. By the default, I believe it's 1 day. So and that's exactly what we have here. Right? The default is the default. Now the task name, step number 2. Enter the following durations or text phrases for the other task. Okay. Task ID. The task ID is the numbers that you see for the number rows on the left side of the screen, right at the beginning of each of the tasks. Okay, so say task ID number 2. This will be the task ID number 2. Design and order marketing material. In the duration column of this task, it's asking us to key in check with marketing team. Okay, and that's exactly what we'll do. Check with marketing team. Okay, and there you go. Okay, now let's go to task ID number 3. It says here leave as 1 day. Yeah, okay. You see the question mark then. Okay, task number 4. We have to select the duration as 2 days. Okay. One way to do that, if you just want to change the duration of the date fast, you have to do the number of days of the duration, and in this case we want days. Okay, for days the easiest way to do is just to key in D, and by default these two project will assume that we're talking about days. Okay, and I'll do enter, and what you see once you key in that, once you do enter, you move out of that cell. Project will add the meaning of D, right? In this case it's days. Okay, now for step number 5, for step number 2, but task ID number 5, I have to do that. I have to change this to coordinate with feature. Okay, we'll have to do 6 days, right? Again, we'll do the same trick. There's a number of ways you can do this, right? So either you can just go up here, so 3, 4, 5, 6 days, or you can do 60. Okay, and then enter. Okay, so now you might be, if you're wondering, how do I know if it's 6D or say a different unit of measure for this task? In the book, I'll provide you guys the page. I believe it's in page. Let's see if it's in here. The duration. Right here. So it's a page 55, right? If you it's telling you which would be the abbreviations in case you have different different units. Okay, so if you key in M, you'll see minutes, right? And let's do that, right? Let's say I'll say here 45M, and the default for M means minutes, right? But say I don't want minutes, I want hours. Okay, so then let's do 45. Let's say 45 hours. 45. The abbreviation would be, in this case, I believe it's H, and so on, 45 hours. And then you can also use days, weeks, or even months. Okay. Now let's scroll down all the way to where we were in our assignment. Okay, so we are here. We entered the duration here. Okay, we did this, and always try to compare what you see on your project, on your file, project file, and what you see in the assignment. It's going to give you a few cues in terms of if you're following the steps properly. Okay, what we're doing now is the next step: create summary tasks to outline the plan. Right. In this case, we have a few tasks to do. And the first one is make the public launch phase task, the summary task of 5 and through 8, right? So what it's saying is that what is this public launch phase would be the main task, right? So how do we do that? We are going to select these tasks. Did I? One second. Okay, what I need to do is first I need to add one milestone here. Okay, we're going to insert one milestone. Milestone essentially is a task that has no duration, unless you specify otherwise, and it will show in a different way on your project file. Okay, let's do that. Insert a new milestone, and this milestone will be named planning complete, and it appears above task 3. So I'm going to just place my cursor here, just select the row or the task, and in under the task menu, you will go to the insert group, and in here you have a few options. Okay, you have to select this one, the little diamond here, and then you do insert milestone, and notice what will happen on the left side of your screen. Okay, it will add one row with a duration of 0 days. Okay, now there's a milestone here, but the default is new milestone, but the step is telling us to change it to planning complete. I don't know if this will work. Copy. Yeah, that's what I don't like doing this. Let's do copy here. And let's see if it places the thing here. Okay, it didn't. So okay, so now I added this as a milestone, right? Now notice a few things here, right? One, all the tasks that were underneath or below this milestone task have been renamed, in the sense of the ID is no longer. It used to be 3 for planning complete and so on. Now, sorry, it used to be 2, now it's 3 and so on, right? Oh, sorry, it used to be 3, now it's 4, right? An additional thing here is that, as I mentioned to you, this will have a duration of 0 days. And on the Gantt chart on the right side of your screen, you see this little diamond. That is that is essentially the date of that milestone, right? So on January 9th, you have a milestone, and that milestone is going to be called planning complete. Okay, so if you open your textbook, our file is looking exactly as we were expecting our as the text was showing us to do as well. Okay. Okay, so in the start I forgot to do, I guess it's, I just skipped steps. So here on step, what is this, launch public, in the finish date, it's asking me to change it to something else, right? And let's do that, right? Let's do about 2 weeks before. You can just about, right, whatever, right? So that text wasn't part of my okay, what happened? Okay, well, that's just the text, right? Was that the task? Duration 1. Okay. Okay, so let's do then the next step, right? We just did the milestone and so on. Now, create a summary task to outline the plan, okay? So in this case, what we're trying to do is to see which task, we can group the tasks, right? So, once we finalize here, we'll see that, say, assign launch team all the way to planning complete should be grouped under a newly created likely task called planning phase, because we don't have that here, okay? Let's follow the steps. Okay, make the public launch phase task in the summary task, which is that one, this one, this task. It's saying the summary task of task 5 through 8, meaning all of these guys. Okay, and let's see how we do that. One way of doing it, I can select all of these tasks, right? And I go again to tasks, and then in the schedule portion, just click on this indent task icon. I'll do that, and notice a few things will happen. A few things will change in the on the right side, on the left side of my the project file. Okay, notice what the change that will take place in also for task number 4. Okay, I'll just do that. Okay, so first the indentation occurred, and now task number 4 is a summary task. Okay, so and this summary task will have under that task a number of days, right? So a number of subtasks. So it has to distribute all the way to launch the program, and then you do have the that's exactly the change that happened. So we're just grouping tasks based on what we would call phases of the project. In this case, these 4 tasks can be summarized as saying a public launch phase. Okay. Something else that happened on the Gantt chart here is that you now see this little black line, that it's somehow grouping or just signaling that these tasks are part of a phase or a group task. Okay, the way that the term that is being used in project here. Okay, so now a second way to do that is it's saying that we need to insert a new summary task. In this case, the name is going to be planning phase, and that will include task 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll just try to copy this. You have to do this, and then just to do this thing, Ctrl C, copy. I don't know if that does the trick here. I'll add one task. I'll just insert the task. Okay, I'll paste it. And then I want what are the tasks? 1, 2, 3, right? So I'll do the same. And then I will do the indentation, right? Again, the same happen, right? So these 2 tasks will be grouped under the planning phase task. Okay, and notice that you also have this little black line that it's kind of a square bracket type of symbol that you can see in the summary task here. Okay. Now, is there something else? And as you can tell, this is looking exactly as we can see on the textbook, right? And now, really and truly, now what we did is that we're organizing our project into two phases of work. The first being the planning phase, and the second being the launch phase. Okay. Now, in one of the things that it is fairly useful of project is the is to define how tasks are interrelated, right? And that's exactly what we'll be doing now. Okay, now we are going to link our tasks. Okay, really in project, if you don't know which task starts before the next, or what's the sequence of tasks, it's not, sometimes it'll be useless, because of at this point we're essentially saying that all of these tasks have to start at the same time. The reality is that multiple times one task cannot start if something else hasn't finished before, right? And there are multiple ways in which you can select. You can specify the sequence of events using a project. Okay, that's what we're exploring now. Okay, so there are multiple ways for us to do that, and that's what we're exploring here. So first step, right? Enter task ID in the predecessor field to link task 2 and 3, right? And what it's telling me really here is that this task, the predecessor for task 3, is going to be task number 2. How do I know the ID? It's essentially the first column that it has no header, but this is the task ID. Okay, I'll key in the number 2 here, and let's see what happens. Note what will happen on the Gantt chart. Okay. Did you notice what happened? This task that has no duration, task number 3, is now showing on the Gantt chart right after the day in which task 2 ends. Okay, and no matter how much you change these dates here, that will always be the case. Okay, now next step is saying make task 3 a predecessor of task 4, and that I'll always do. I'll do the same. Right? For now, I'll just key in the name, the task ID name, which is 3. How do I know that? Because it's telling me the step. I'll just select this, enter, and then this step is now in this task now is being preceded by task number 3. Okay. Finally, link all subtasks from 6 to 9 by using the link selected task command. Okay. First, to do that, I will now. There's times in which you just want to have a few tasks that are linked to each other in a sequence, and that's exactly what it's doing in this step. I'll select them all, and I have to go to 1 second here. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do is to link this task from 6 to 9 in a sequence. For that, I'll select them all, 6 to 9. 6 to 9, right? 6 to 9, yeah. And then I'm going to link to this now using the selected tasks command. Okay, where is that? Where you can find that under the task main menu, and in the group section called schedule, you have a bunch of icons here. You have to select this one that goes as a little link kind of thing, as a chain. Link the selected task here, and notice what will happen on your project. Okay, so did you see that first the sequence was established like automatically? Okay, and on the left side as well, that that sequence is being respected based on the fact that you have your start and finish dates. Okay, really and truly that happened based on the duration of the dates, but as you can see, for instance, this task will take 2 days, and once that finishes, you can start task 7 and so on, right? 2 changes. One, it adds the predecessors automatically, and 2, the Gantt chart changes. Okay. Now, let's see what else do we have here. Link task 4, planning complete task. What is task 4, right? What is task 4? Okay, here to task 6. Okay, by using your mouse in the chart portion. Okay, how do we do that? So let's maximize this. 1 second. Okay, so now instead of keying in numbers, let's do that. Let's try to do that in a more graphic way. Okay, so we have to link task 4 and 6. How do we do that? I'll just go to the Gantt chart section here, and I'm going to select the milestone. Okay, and then I'll just drag it. I'll try to drag it. I'm not really dragging it, right? So, but I'm just holding. I'm just selecting the mouse to drag this, and I'll drop it on task 6. Okay, I'll drop it here. And now what I'm really saying is that task 6 will start only after task 4 has ended. Okay. Again, this is a visual way of doing the same. You could have just easily just added the predecessor here. Again, it's trying to show how many different ways you have in project to set the predecessors of the tasks that that you may have in your project. Okay, so the next step is and you always again check always that what you're doing is aligned to what the book is asking you to do. In this case, it seems to be fine. Yeah, so we have this. Oh, did we forget to do this 2 weeks here at some point? Just 1 second. Okay, now we're doing step number 6, which in this case is the launch public web portal, right? So in this case, note that this task was manually scheduled, right? So that's why the dates didn't change. But really and truly, what we said before was that task 8 cannot start if task 7 has finalized. And because of its manual, we have to adjust these dates manually, right? In this case, I have to say that this task will start on the 20 is this, oh, sorry, on the 21st, right? Which is in this case a holiday, but let's just do 23rd. And you'll see that this little red underline will just go away once I do that. Okay, let's do this. And I just managed to remove the problem that you do have, right? Because so that's a warning that something might not be following the sequence that I previously set up for my project. Okay. Now that's exactly what it means, that I'd have to adjust this task so the predecessor link is being respected. Okay. That happens when your task is manually scheduled. If this would be auto scheduled, this would be the date would have been automatically adjusted. Okay, so and then you always check what you're doing here in terms of how this is showing. The dates might be off here. That really doesn't matter for as long as you do have you're doing the predecessors and so on here. Okay, my dates are off here. Now let's do a check a plan's duration and finish date. Okay, in this case, there is this timeline view, right? So note a few things here, right? So the timeline really is at the top here on top of our task in the Gantt chart, and sometimes just 1 second. Sometimes you might not be able to see it. Okay, if you don't see this, what you have to do is just go to the view main menu, and then check this timeline. This must be checked. Let's see what happens when it's not. Okay, you don't see the timeline, right? If that's the case in whatever project you're working on, go back to view, do timeline, and that'll show here. that timeline will show. Now, there are a few things to see in this timeline, right? So you can see the start date, the end date, and so on. Now, you may if you need to make changes to these dates, by all means, you can do it. And where you do that, usually you do that under project information, and this is where you select the start date, right? So in this case, it was set up to start on January 9th, 2023. If you change it here, that change will be reflected here, and everything will change based on the start date that was stated under the project information here. Where do you see the project information? You have to go to the project tab, and under the properties group, you select project information, and you change the start date. Okay, what we are doing now is just adding a summary, adding the project summary task. Okay, what is this? Is essentially it's a big umbrella that will house all of our phases. Okay, and that's something that is being created by default in project. Okay, how do we add that? You have to go to project. Sorry, you have to go to format, and but you have to place your cursor on the Gantt chart area here, and in the show and hide group, you will see the project summary task. If I click here, you will see that a new task will be added at the top of the our task already defined. Okay, and this is by default that is the 0 task, right? And that's not really a task, it's just that a project summary task that it's summarizing when the project will start and will end based on the data that you guys have keyed in here for your project. Okay, you can turn that off if you want to see that, and the project summary task will go away. Let's just add it at this point. Okay, now let's go back to our textbook. What else do we have? Just give me a second. Okay. Now this is the we're documenting our project now. So it's asking us to add a note to task 6. Let's go to task 6. The notes are essentially in the first column here. What would be the second? This information column. And you just right click on cell number 6. In this case, it's number 6, right? And just give me a second here. I just right click and then notes, right? And you will have this new box here. And what do we have to do? What's the note? Just key the note. Like in this case, the note is get recipient. I'll just do get recipient, right? Get recipient. Yeah, whatever, right? So okay, and you will see that a sticky note type of icon will be shown under this column for this specific task. Okay, see this little sticky note? Okay, so we added just a note. Let's display the project summary task, which we just did. Point to the point to the node icon for task 0. Let's change the node, and then I guess it's a node here. Yeah, and then you can change this node if you want. Just leave it as is for now. And now there's a new something else it's asking us to do. Add the hyperlink text with an address of whatever address to task 8. How do we do that? Let's see. Let me just do here. What task is it? Task 8, right? Okay, so let's just do this. Right click in here. Say okay. Right click, and you see one of the options. It's the very last option is to add a link here. Okay, so in this case, just have to key in whatever it's asking us to key in. Let's see if it allows me to copy here. Copy, say paste. Okay, good. And then it's also asking us to do this one, right? So let's just do copy, Control V, and then OK. Okay. And then we do have this little link type of icon that it's telling us that there's a link if you want to explore that. And if you click in here, it should be open. It should open the website that it's posted, that you just keyed in or pasted on the under that link, right? So it'll take some time, but it's really not the purpose of this thing. And those are all the steps. So as you can tell, it's opening. Well, likely it didn't find the link, but okay. So let me go back to my project, and that's all you have to do. Don't worry too much if the dates are not aligned. That's really not the point of this this assignment at this point. What we really, I believe I missed this step here to check the duration. I believe it is 2 weeks, right? At some point I forgot to do that. Let's say 2 weeks. Let's Control Home. 2 weeks, okay, and everything that now is a better aligned. Okay, so those are all the steps. Okay, I'll post this video and see what we can talk in our next classroom. Thank you.